Alrighty, we gotta show off the cleavage. Show off the cleavage. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Beasley here. Hope you all are staying cool, calm, and collected out there. So, y'all, I didn't even realize, but we hit over 600 subscribers, you guys. 600 subscribers. Now, you know, we're growing at a slow pace, but we are steadily growing. That's all that matters. And I want to thank you guys for supporting this channel and fully believing in me, because I would not keep going if it wasn't for you guys. And I want you guys to drop down in the comments and let me know, what do you like out of this channel? Because what I do is I come up with ideas, write them down in my little notes app in my phone, and I just throw them out there. If they hit, they hit. Or if they miss, they miss. Some of them stick, and some of y'all like the shit. But I will say I want to kind of tailor my content to be more user-friendly. So I want you guys to just let me know, what do you guys like the most out of my channel, so I can kind of tailor it and regurgitate the content to y'all. But in regards to this video, you guys, as much as it has troubled me, I have been wanting to make this video for quite some time, but every time I would start to do it, I would stop. And one thing about me, I like to break down the fourth wall every time I hit a milestone. Like every time I get like about 100 subscribers, 100 new subscribers, I want to go ahead and follow in the footsteps of my idol Jada Pinkett and sell out my business to you guys. So today we are going to talk about my first and only relationship with a scammer. So this all took place back in 2010. I had graduated high school, and back in high school I would always, like every summer I would visit my two cousins, Nick and Josh, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I was going to take a bus, a Greyhound bus. I know, ghetto, right? Uncouth. But I was going to take a pissy Greyhound bus all the way down to Louisiana. I was in line, minding my own business, and then on top of that, this dude in front of me, he went ahead and asked me to go ahead and watch his luggage. And I was just like, okay, cool. I was assuming he went to the bathroom. And to give a description of this man, first of all, we're going to give him a fake name. His name is going to be Caesar. No Palace. Now, in regards to looks, like, he wasn't the most attractive man. He wasn't ugly, but in my opinion, he looked like a cross between a dusty-ass LeBron James and a dusty-ass Brian McKnight. Like, that's legit what he looked like, with, like, more pronounced features. And over time, I learned that he had the personality of Peter Thomas from Real Housewives of Atlanta. But I watched his bags, not really. I was typing in my little BlackBerry Pearl. He came on back, and then we started to kind of like spark up a conversation. Like, really, it was him talking to me. You know, I'm still in high school. I'm kind of green to the world. Like, my first time traveling, like, legit by myself. So I was not trying to talk to anybody. But he was like getting me to talk and get me out of my comfort zone, and then we started to kind of chop it up a bit, and I was like, okay, this guy seems pretty cool. It is what it is. So we hop on the bus. He's about to go to another seat, but I mistakenly invited him over to go sit in my seat, because I'm like, okay, I don't want to sit to somebody I haven't been talking to. So I just assumed that, you know, we're going to talk on the bus, and then we're going to go on our separate ways when I get off. I got on down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, got off the bus, and I mistakenly gave him my number, y'all. I gave the man my number, and we proceeded to really talk and form a relationship from there. So later on, in the few coming months, I start college. I think I met him in like June 2010. I don't really know, but what I do know is I was 17 when I met him, and he was either 21 or 22. So actually, I think this was July, because I legit turned like 18 years old like a few weeks like after I had met him. So this had to have been like late July, I guess. I don't remember, but what I know is I was on the cusp of turning 18 when I met him. And y'all, we were in a long distance relationship for the longest, because he was all the way in Florida, I was all the way in Texas, starting at college at Prairie View A&M University. And y'all, I was DL on campus. Yes, your boy was on the DL. Like, I mean, a lot of people honestly couldn't tell. Like, you probably could tell that I'm gay, but in my everyday walking life, a lot of people did not realize or know that I was gay. And then over time, like, I had to kind of like hide who I was talking to. Like, I had to change his name from Caesar to Cecilia in my phone, and everybody thought I had a girlfriend this whole entire time. The whole time, everybody thought I had a long-distance girlfriend, even though that girl had a beard and a dick. Now, y'all, not to get off track, but this story is going to be Dumb Bitch 101. What not to do when someone gets in a relationship with you. You guys, first of all, I was in a long-distance relationship throughout college. When I first entered college, and you guys know how them freshmen are, just buck-ass wild. But I will say, in college, I did not cheat on him. But I will say, was I tempted? Absolutely. But then at the same time, in college, nobody was checking for me. Of course, they were fine men, but like, Nobody was really checking for me like that in college, so it was kind of easy to stay faithful. And honestly, I was kind of like a loner in college too, and it felt like he was the only person that understood me. This man, he had the gift for gab, y'all. And I cling to him because it felt like he was the only person that understood me. Like, he always offered me words of encouragement when we weren't arguing. And he was always like a backbone to me when I was trying to like navigate, you know, being an adult in this world, a young adult. Because in my surroundings, I felt like I was like just a little bit more mature than other people. And then on top of that, it was my first time being in love. He felt like my rock. He felt like he was a confidant. He was my confidant. And he could talk the panties off of you too. This man had intense charisma, like very, very charismatic. But y'all, we didn't really have our first date up until, I want to say, it was like right before the end of my freshman year, because I was on the cheer squad and we went to Daytona Beach, Florida for a cheer nationals on ESPN. Y'all, that whole entire weekend at that cheer competition, that's probably gonna be my next story time, because that could have been a whole reality television show in itself, you guys. Like, it was a hot mess. During one of the practices, we threw a girl in the air and she fucking kicked me in my eye. My eye was swollen. And that was when we had our first date with a swollen eye. But this is when the first red flag started to creep in, you guys, because for one, he was telling me how much like of an entrepreneur he was. He had a condo in Miami, drove a BMW and all that. And then we coordinated like a date. We were gonna go to like Red Lobster, which, y'all, Red Lobster is so overrated. Like, the only thing worth eating at Red Lobster is the cheddar biscuits, but I digress. But y'all, this is not being superficial at all, but he pulled up to the hotel in a 2002 Impala. Now, like I said, I'm not superficial at all. And mind you, I had to sneak out of the hotel to go meet this man. But he pulled up in the Impala. That was the first red flag. But I went ahead and hopped in the red flag. We made it all the way down to Red Lobster, and I noticed that he didn't look as cute as I thought he was, or what I remembered him looking at. Like, like in the pictures he sent me, and from the first time I first met him, from what I remember, he just was not that cute like that, and he didn't really dress that well either. But we went to Red Lobster and the date was terrible. Absolutely terrible. One thing I did not like, which was the second red flag, was that he was mean to the waitstaff. That is the biggest pet peeve, especially if I'm dating you. Do not be mean to the service staff or anybody in the service industry, because that is the fast ticket for me to exit your life, bitch. That date ended, and y'all, I contemplated blocking his number. Now, I'm super nice, so I don't block people. Like, I just don't block people because I feel like that shows that you're bothered. Like, I feel like I gain more power if I just flat out ignore your ass versus block your ass. But he could tell that I was kind of off. Like, when we were driving all the way back to my hotel, like, I just wasn't really talking. I just was not interested. Like, the conversation didn't flow. Like, it was a flop. Terrible ass first date. Absolutely terrible. But the next day rolled around. I don't remember if this was before or after the cheer competition, but regardless, we lost. We lost. And it was like the last day in Florida, and he kind of wanted to plead his case and make things right and make up for that flop ass first date. And you know what, since this was the only available option of love that I had, and this was like the only thing that I knew, mind you, like before we even had our first date, we would just like make up and break up, make up and break up, and it was toxic, it was trash, it was stupid. But I was willing to give this man a second chance because I did not think that there was anything left in this world for me. The second date, it was nice. It was cute. It was much better. It was very simple. All we did was go to the beach, threw down a little towel and laid on the sand, and he sat behind me and held me, y'all. And it felt like, it was the first time I felt like, oh wow, so this is what love feels like. This is what it's like to have somebody care about you, especially like growing up in high school, being like a loner, being depressed, feeling like you're understood, feeling like you're misunderstood. It felt like for the first time in this world, I was like, damn, somebody really cares about me and actually sees me. But another year goes by, our relationship was still tumultuous, up and down, and we didn't really have sex until I was 19 years old, and that's actually when I lost my virginity. Like, he was the first person I ever had sex with. And was it good? No. It was actually pretty terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. I guess he knew what he was doing. At least I thought he knew what he was doing because I didn't know what we were doing. And I may be jumping ahead, but let me just get the sex life out of the way, you guys. It was pretty much a dickless marriage. Like, we were off and on for like, I want to say 7 years, and the sex was just not good. It just was not there. Like, it was just like, honestly and truthfully, like, I didn't learn how to pop this pussy up until I was 25, but I will say, it just was not, it was not hitting at all. It wasn't hitting on shit. Not shit. But y'all, later on that year, closer to my 20th birthday, he decided to come down here and moved down here like permanently with his friend. We're gonna call him Gregory. Ugh. And then Gregory had a boyfriend that was already down here, and they all decided to get an apartment together. But the gag is, before that, and mind you guys, occupation wise, from what he told me, he was an entrepreneur. Like, him and his mom ran a home health aid company together, and they were pretty much thriving in Florida. But however, the mom went through like intense depression once her mom died. I think it was like, yeah, his grandmother died, and she went through like a deep spiraling depression. Also because, from what he told me, his mom's, basically his stepdad was cheating on her at the same time. It was a lot of mess going on. A lot of like mess that I can't even verify if it was real or not. To this day, I don't know if he was an entrepreneur or not. He did show me his business licenses and all that, but I mean, it is what it is. This was before the days of Photoshop, but I will say I'm still skeptical if what he told me was all a lie, because you mean to tell me you can come down to Houston with no job and no money and expect to make it without a car on top of that? Baby, no ma'am. So with that being said, that's when the financial abuse came into play. Like, you guys, I was a whole entire sugar daddy, basically. Like, y'all, I was working while going to college, and basically most of my money was going to that man because, you know, it was him, his friend, and his man, and not nan one of them motherfuckers had a job. Not nan one. He didn't get a job up until, I want to say, like a month or two after living in Houston. He worked at Target, but hey, he had no money, and I'm just like, deep down inside, I knew what I was doing was just like wrong and absolutely stupid. But you guys, I was so just in love and enthralled with this man because it's all I had and it was all that I knew. And y'all, correction, all of this took place my senior year actually. I did a story time telling you guys about when I almost got expelled from college during my senior year. All that was going on while I was working 2 jobs, taking 18 hours, and most of my money was going towards him. Like, I was making a lot of money in college, but like half of my checks would go towards his rent because the other 2 dusty ass motherfuckers weren't paying for shit. So later on that year, Caesar decided to just give up. Like, he just gave up. Like, he was not making money and he didn't make things shake like he did. And you guys, I was distraught because I'm like, damn, like, all that mess went down. I potentially got my degree taken away, and then now you're leaving me on top of like basically all the money that I gave you just went to nothing, like absolutely nothing, making sure you survive, and you just leave me high and dry like that. I was distraught. I fought for him to stay, but he went ahead and went on down his way. And literally that was the universe tearing us apart for the greater good, but you know, I really wanted things to work out and they just didn't. So I grieved the relationship for a week and then I got over it. And then I was single all the way up until, I want to say, 2016. In 2016, like, I didn't date anybody. Like, there was like instances where like, okay, I was close to dating somebody, but it never happened because, you know, black men weren't really comfortable with their sexuality back then, and most of them still aren't. But yeah, for some reason, y'all, I just tend to attract DL men. I don't know. It is what it is. But I will say, you know, the dating has never came easy to me, and then I was ready to give up on love, but then he walked right back into my life, you guys. So y'all, this was another dumb bitch move again. Like, I went ahead and let him walk back into my life. You know, we rekindled our relationship. He came to come visit me, and he revealed to me later on, I think a few months later, that he wanted to give it a go. Like, he wanted to give Houston another go round. And on that phone call, He got mad at me, but I told him straight up, I'm like, I'm not taking care of you if you come down here. Like, I'm legit not helping you. Like, and he was like, well, how can you come down here? How can you not take care of me? Like, we're supposed to be a family. We're supposed to ride together. You're supposed to be my ride or die. Blah blah blah. And I told him straight up, I'm like, look, that's all fine and cool, but you come out here with no money and no job, you're on your own. But y'all, somehow, some way, he did a Jedi mind trick, and I ended up basically taking care of him again. He came out here, he lived in Pasadena with his friend, got back on his feet, started working security, and we were doing the damn thing. Like, it was dreadful. Mind you, you guys, I had left my job I was working at Nordstrom at the time. I left that and I went to this company. It was like a financial institution company, but I was working there overnight, and it was like the worst fucking job in this world. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Yeah, I was getting paid more money, but I was sacrificing my mental health. And mind you, I had to drive from this job all the way to Pasadena to drive him to his job to make sure that he got to work because he didn't have a car. You guys, looking back on it now, and the reason why I didn't want to make this video is because, like, I was so stupid. Just so fucking stupid. But for the most part, things were starting to look up. He got a job, and he ended up becoming, like, I think, like a manager at a construction company, which paid decently well. But at the same time, like, I was still paying for his rent. Like, he was still trying to save up money to get his own car, and I was legit paying his own rent. And we were getting ready to, like, move in with each other. Like, I was going to, like, go away. Like, I was planning this all out. Like, we were gonna, like, work, get him on his feet. I was going to pay the rent. I was going to move in. I practically was, like, living there, like, on the weekends, basically. At this time, I was still living with my parents, but I was gonna do a big reveal of coming out to my parents, announcing him as my boyfriend, and basically, like, us moving together and live happily ever after. So I thought. First off, let's talk about the cheating. Now, I suspected that he was cheating on me because one day I went into his place and I found somebody's phone, and he tried to play it off like I was tripping and all that. But somebody left their phone in the apartment, and I was just like, okay. But yeah, you work overnight, so who else was here when you got home in the morning? I would really like to know. And y'all, I'm not a saint at all either, because we weren't having sex with each other. We weren't having sex. He wasn't doing anything for me. Like, I was legit taking care of him, and I wasn't getting any love in return because he was always stressed out, always just angry, always had a piss poor ass attitude, probably because he couldn't be the provider that he used to be or like wanted to be. I will admit that I stepped out of the relationship too, mainly because I wasn't getting love, attention, or affection. Like, I was legit taking care of somebody and getting nothing in return. Like, I legit got nothing in return for that relationship. Like, it was a one-sided relationship of me feeding into somebody and building them up because I didn't have enough self-esteem to realize that, bitch, I could do bad all by myself. Now, the way I cheated, I didn't step into a relationship with somebody else. This was around the time where, you know, the dating apps were getting big, like Grindr and Jacked. So I got on the app and I legit was just on there. You know, I got a lot of people in my DMs, a lot of people in my DMs, and one night I went and just got head from somebody. Like, that's pretty much the extent of cheating that I did. And then that's pretty much like how I stepped out of the relationship. And then on top of that, I think at one point I had hopped on a dating app just out of curiosity, and then his friend Gregory caught me on it, and then that caused a rift between us where we almost broke up. I will admit that. Like I said, I'm not a saint, never claimed to be a good person. So you guys, literally a whole month goes by with me not hearing from him, and then bam, I get a text message saying that I need your help. Like, I got into like a car accident, and then I need help with a rental. And I was just like, dude, are you serious? And then he was like, yeah, of course I'm serious. Like, I need help. Like, I really need help with this. Like, this is a financial issue that I did not expect. And I had the money at the time because, you know, I was a good saver. But in this text message, I was like, okay, dude, you know what? I'll help you with this. But after that, we're done. Like, this shit is over. Hang it up. flat screen. And then he gonna be like, oh wow, you really broke up with me in a text message? And I'm like, yes bitch, I did. Y'all, at the end of the day, it was just no form of respect at all. And on top of that, you guys, over the span of our relationship, I think I've given him a little over $40,000, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. And mind you, after we had broke up, I used the credit card to, to have it on file for the rental vehicle. And then on top of that, come to find out, months after we had broken up, he had my same credit card on file, you guys, for his car note payments. When I tell you the level of passivity, you guys, my credit card was legit on file for his car note payments. I want to say he racked up a good $3,000 on that. It could have been worse up until I caught on to it, because I wasn't really financially organized at that time. This was when I was probably 22 or 23 years old. I kept tabs of my spending, but I didn't see all these charges pop up until the last minute. You guys, this is another dumb bitch moment. I didn't report the charges, because if they would have reported them, he would have gotten his car taken away and he would have been fucked. But it's just looking back on it, I'm like, why did I give a fuck? You fucked me over, why do I give a fuck what happens to you? But that's how much I cared, because even though I broke up with him, I was still in love with him. And then I can honestly say at the age of 29, I wasn't in love. I was in love with the idea of love and the idea of somebody loving me. It was like an energy vampire that this man was. He legit took advantage of me. He wasn't shit. And mind you guys, 3 years had rolled by and Gregory, his friend, hit me up in the DMs, and he, basically I went off on him. Basically talking about how he was a shitty friend to Caesar throughout the years. He was a mooch. He, basically how I took care of him and Caesar together. But then for Gregory, he wanted to give me the aha bitch, egg on your face moment, and he revealed that Caesar was cheating on me the entire time. He was cheating on me probably the last 2 years of our relationship. And I was hurt. I was angry at first, but then at the same time I was I wasn't surprised, because for one, we weren't having sex. It was a sexless union. We weren't doing anything. We weren't really going on dates. We were just together to be together. And honestly and truthfully, you guys, it was just a complete waste of time and a shitty investment. But overall, you guys, I wanted to make this video because on Valentine's Day, I realized that I'm a bitter bitch. I am a bitter bitch. And the reason why I have not entered into another relationship is because I am living in the past. I am living in the past, holding on to that past hurt, that past guilt, and those past regrets. And it's time for me to move the fuck forward, especially now that I'm about to be 30 years old this year. It's time for me to step into my cunt. It's time for me to level the fuck up, and it's time for me to experience love based on divine timing, because these men that I've been coming across, baby, it's just it's oh, things are good, then the communication falls off. Oh, things are good, and the communication falls off. But the reason why they were falling off is because I'm still holding on to the past and just holding on to that past anger and hurt. And the past is not where I live anymore. It's time to live in the present. One thing I learned from one of my favorite YouTubers by the name of Cover Me Pink is that don't ever stay in a situation that is past your expiration date, you guys. And I stayed in that relationship way past its expiration date. I ignored all the red flags, and I ignored what the universe was trying to tell me. The universe was trying to split us up multiple times because that was not supposed to be the man for me. He was only supposed to be in my life for a season, not a reason. The good thing that I could say about this man was that he did try to build me up. He did talk me up and really give me kind words of affirmations, but for the most part he was a leech and he was a burden. But to the people out there that are holding on to anger and hurt from a past broken relationship, you're not going to get your blessings from holding on to anger and aggression from the past transgressions. You guys are not going to see the rainbow after the storm, because you guys are just holding on to hurt and bitterness, and that's not what God wants you to. That's not the level of vibration that you need to be on in order to elevate into the next best thing. But y'all, I learned so many lessons from that relationship of what not to do when in a relationship. For one, there is no romance without finance. There is no romance without finance. There is no romance without finance. 2, there is no relationship without sex. And 3, in the words of Trina the Rhinestone Princess, don't be a dumb hoe. That's a no-no. But those are my views. I mean, that's my story. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to come back at you guys with some more content.